Last series, we saw him be a rock star. He won that last game versus Marine King Prime. Will he be able to do the same thing here versus Hart? I'm about to find out. Let's introduce our players here in the northeast position on Cloud Kingdom as the Red Terran. Give it up for Complexity Hearts. And in the southwest position as the Blue Protoss. Can he bring this one back, Grubby? We're going to find out. It is Startail Parting.
Yeah, and Hart has shown, true to his name, 2 aggressive play styles, but with a sprinkle of geniusness that we must say, we can't just say he's an aggressive or a one-on-one player and so on. It matters so much how you use it. We saw the same with Marine King early on, where he came with the Hellion. He got so much mileage out of those units. And even Hart, who turned on Entomb Valley, who turned a seemingly very disastrous situation into an advantageous situation. He took down those sentries. He said, okay, I'm gonna let you chase me around the ring, but I'm coming back here and I'm gonna punish you for it. I'm gonna seem weak and then lash back at you, kind of like a cornered badger. So Hart definitely using everything nicely. Has for the first time decided not to go for a 13 refinery. So will we see a kind of regular expansion once again? And okay, so there's 2 ways to expand on this map off of 1 barracks when you go for no gas. Either you do it off of 1 supply depot. It's kind of like in your face, I want to get my 2nd command center as fast as possible. We see a player like Mouse Sports Thorzane doing this. But then we've got Hart, who may be choosing for a 2nd supply depot first and then the 2nd command center. And the way that kind of works out is you're more deceptive with that way. You kind of leave your opponent guessing. You may not get your command center. Oh, okay.
He lost it again, Grubby. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Keep going.
This is way more important.
No, I mean, it looked like he was going to get in there. The supply depot went down, but the moment that Hart saw that, he went back on the assault with those 2 SCVs. And
yeah, so when we talk about deception, walling off is a nice way to get deception. Killing the probe is another really nice way to keep your opponent guessing, but there's no way to really make it happen. The opponent has to kind of mess up. And there we go for the in-base command center after 2nd supply depot. It's going to work out nicely for him. The probe doesn't know. Is there refinery? Is there command center? Are you doing 2 racks, 4 racks? He doesn't know. And once again, chose for the double gas. So I do think we will see a robotics facility. There's no proxy pylon anywhere on the map. And will he use the robo to secure a type of late nexus with a lot of observers that we saw on Entombed Valley, or will he use it for a kind of blind all-in, which haven't really worked that well for him so far yet.
They really haven't. And, you know, with the probe gone as well, I mean, it just opens up so many additional options for Hart as well. I mean, well, we're going to see a follow-up with the 2 racks, which is kind of what I expect to see. And there we see both gases. So, interestingly enough, yeah, I feel like Hart's already putting himself in a good position. If anything, because he's got that mind game advantage with his opponent, you know? He's been able to sort of trick him every game. He's thrown some unique stuff, and now he's going for, you know, I'd say, I mean, obviously his build is hidden a little bit, but probably not what Party is expecting here on this map.
Yeah, and this looks like the most, like the very most standard build that the Terran could do. If you speak of any build which would be considered as the standard go-to strategy, it would be 1 barracks into command center, into 2 more barracks with 2 refineries. And the funny thing is, he did 2 highly aggressive all-ins, and he is the type of player who would do that. The opponent might expect for a 3rd all-in like that to come, but he's choosing to go for a macro game. Parting though, once again, 1 base Colossus.
Are you surprised by that decision, Grubby?
I'm not surprised. Like I said, I kind of lost my hope for him to do well in this series, perhaps this tournament. Unfortunately there for all Protoss and Parting fans. I'm not surprised by it. He did make it with 1 sentry. Nice scan there by Hart, exactly hit the money scan. He saw 100 energy on the Nexus, he saw the Robo Bay, however, cancellation. So this is turning from a Colossus all-in, which would hit later, into an Immortal all-in. So perhaps a little bit of misjudgment there will ensue for Hart, but I'm not sure it will actually hurt him. I mean, both all-ins kind of require the same response. Don't go down the hill too quickly. Stay on one base. Just get a lot of mule mining from that one base and quickly get that starport out, be it for Medivacs or Vikings. And the only way this is really gonna hurt Hard, this let's say this misinformation that he has, is if he skips Medivacs and he goes straight for Mass Vikings without getting any additional information. But if he just gets more information or he goes for Medivacs first, he's gonna be totally okay.
I like Hart with this, I guess, hit squad of 5 Marines over on the far west side of the map. Now, he actually sacrifices an SCV to see that the army's right at his front door, and that means that these hit squad of Marine is going to walk right into the base. If he manages to get in there in between a Warpin, again, we're just going to see Hart with another great move here. Now, he does have a bunker at the top of his ramp. He's going to go ahead and pop his Guardian Shield, immediately go after that bunker. We do see the repair going on, and there it does go down, but hitting those sentries from the top of the ramp, they're stuck back there. There's only a single Immortal there. Zealots can't get through to do any damage, and now the Marines inside the main, taking out the probes. There's the Warpin into the middle, but already losing 5 workers. A few SCVs were lost there in Hart's defense as well, but he also had to warp in units back at home, which means that his army is, of course, going to be a little bit smaller than he'd like it to be. Yeah. And Hart doesn't have to fight here. Yeah. All he really had to do was defend, and I think that those 5 Marines, you know, I think they pretty much paid for themselves. Dividends. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a nice observation there. And also, with that SCV scout that you mentioned, he was actually able to anticipate the attack coming. His SCVs were ready. Those SCVs behind the bunker forced those force fields to be used. So guess what? No more Guardian Shield now. So you're going to have to fight with a mostly ranged army against SCV, Bio, Medivac with Stimpack. And we're going to see just how badly that will go for Parting right now.
Yeah, already losing quite a few units here. Sentries putting themselves in danger as well. They're all gone. The 2 Immortals still exist. The force field's now running out, and there's just absolutely no way that he's going to be able to contain this army in the way that he was before. Right now, Hart is, again, just using that up in his base to his advantage. He's targeting these Immortals now. 1 Immortal goes down. SCV's attacking Immortal number 2, and I just see nothing but GG, and there it is. Parting goes down to Hart, and not just a 3-0, but a super fast 3-0 as well.
Yeah, and Hart actually outperforming Marine King there, doing a 3-0 against someone who Marine King only went 2-1 against. And I think Marine King must be thinking now, if only that 3rd game I didn't play super greedy and blind. Because basically Parting is almost giving the games to his opponent.
Yeah, let's shoot over to Axelav and QXC. Guys, a fast 3-0 series. How about your thoughts on that last map, and then your thoughts on the series overall?
Yeah, I think the last map was actually pretty similar to the second map. You know, Parting went for a very risky build where he's hoping his opponent won't scout it. Hart did an amazing job with that SCV scout with those Marine sneak around the side. Just very, very, very good map awareness on Hart's part. And that's you know, and then he reacted correctly. He stayed on the high ground, and there's really no way a Protoss is going to force rep that ramp. Just the concave's too good. The force fields are not going to cut it in those positions. And I really is really kind of disappointing on Parting's part, because I've seen him play such amazing late game play. A lot of people say it's the best late game PvT out there. And you know, maybe I know as a player myself, what can happen is before a tournament, you might play a bunch of practice games with a friend. And if you do poorly in those, you'll lose confidence in the matchup, and you'll kind of go back to builds you're like, well, I don't have to be playing that great. I can still make this build work if my opponent messes up. But Hart wasn't messing up. He wasn't having any of it, and that's kind of what we saw.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Definitely the way, I mean, yeah, we saw in that series, I feel like Hart played smarter. Technically, I don't think he really played better. I don't feel like Parting played bad. They were both spending their money. They were both macroing. The micro was a little weird at some points in the game, but Hart just was playing smart, and Parting was not. Kind of what I envision Parting is he's always pushing, and he's never willing to give ground. He's always pushing, and he's overextending himself, and he's making bad decisions by overextending himself so frequently. And Hart says, keep pushing me. Keep pushing. Push as much as you want. He just takes a step back. And then when Parting's not looking, it's over. The game ends. Those 5 Marines in his base, both games, basically cinched it.
Well, that actually, by my really bad math, puts Parting at 1-5 right now.
Oh, that's great math.
No, well, I did that like in real time, actually.
Well, you had some time to think about it.
I didn't have a calculator or anything, Grubby. So, yeah, 1-5, just not what you'd expect from a player like that right out of the gates. But, you know, there's still many, many matches left to go here throughout the entire weekend. And I guarantee you that we haven't seen the last of the upsets. Now, coming up next, we've got DRG taking on Huck. I am going to be switching over to the Gameplay One stream, and Grubby will be here with Rob Simpson. We're going to throw in a few more guys here on the analyst desk as well. So, guys, we'll be back with more MLG Spring Arena. Coming up next, it's Huck versus DRG. Thanks for joining us.